Hey guys! Today we'll be covering a 2018 romance drama film called Perfect World. The movie opens up with a beautiful young girl named Kawana standing in front of her high school, remembering her first love, Itsuki. She speaks to herself that when she turned 24, she again fell in love with Itsuki, her senior from high school. The scene then shifts to the past where Kawana is at her workplace, Cranberry's interior design company. She is with her colleagues looking through a catalog. Just then, one of Kawana's colleagues mentions the name Itsuki, which attracts Kawana's attention. She lunges towards her colleagues and tells them that the handsome architect Itsuki is actually her senior from high school. Hearing this, Kawana's boss tells her that they are working with the architect on a big project and also asks her to join them at a dinner party later. In the evening, Kawana arrives at the dinner party along with her boss and is surprised to see Itsuki there. As soon as she enters, Itsuki also recognizes her and asks her to take a seat. Kawana then remembers her first interaction with Itsuki in high school, when she worked in the school's library. She remembers Itsuki telling her that he wants to be an architect in the future. At the same time, Kawana falls in love with him and starts drawing pictures of him. She follows him around the school and draws him while he plays basketball. At present, while Kawana is returning from the washroom of the restaurant, she is shocked to see Itsuki crawling to get to a wheelchair, brought there by his friend, Watanabe. He finds it difficult to even put his legs straight and to wear shoes. He greets Kawana and leaves the place. Seeing this, Kawana feels very sad and cannot believe what she just saw. The next day, Kawana visits Itsuki's office to hand him the interior designs from the company. There, she finds him happy and working on the special project to be presented before the Sakuroga district for the construction of a civic center. She tries to surprise him from behind, but accidentally ruins a small part of the design. Rather than getting angry at her, Itsuki is happy to see her at his office. Kawana hands the designs to Watanabe, who mentions that if their company succeeds to get the project of the Civic Center, they will get to work together with the Cranberry's interior design company. At night, Kawana and Itsuki can be seen roaming around the streets remembering their high school life. Kawana tells Itsuki about how she won the prize in an art exhibit in the school. Later, the two enter a restaurant to have dinner. Wasting no time, Itsuki tells Kawana about his accident which happened during the third year of his architectural study and the reason he is unable to move his legs. He mentions that a car hit him while he was returning home and his spinal cord got damaged during the accident. Sadly, he also tells Kawana that his injury cannot be healed and that he can never walk again. Itsuki further mentions that because of him being handicapped, most of the vendors don't like him and do not prefer to provide him with the projects. Hence, Sakuroga's project is very important to him and he wants to sell it at any cost. In the following scene, Kawana is at her office when she gets a call from Watanabe. She immediately hurries to the hospital where she finds Itsuki lying on a bed with wounds on his back. Meanwhile, the doctors ask her to wait outside. Soon, Watanabe arrives there and tells Kawana that Itsuki was working so hard on the project that he stressed himself out and got himself in this situation. He mentions that the design is still incomplete and only Itsuki can complete it before the deadline. As Itsuki is now ill and hospitalized, Watanabe loses hope of getting the big project for their company. Later, Kawana enters Itsuki's hospital room and finds him drawing the final designs for the presentation. Despite struggling to draw because of the pain, Itsuki can be seen trying hard to complete the design for the presentation, scheduled to happen the next day. The doctor also arrives and suggests Itsuki rest rather than draw, but Itsuki insists on completing the designs as it is very important to his company. Seeing this, Kawana asks the doctor to let Itsuki draw, assuring that she will take care of him. After that, the doctor leaves and Itsuki continues drawing, despite having a high fever and pain. At this time, Kawana decides to be supportive of Itsuki and help him achieve his dreams. She also helps Itsuki complete the drawing by staying up all night. The next day, during the presentation, fortunately, the vendors like the design concept and they finalize the deal with Itsuki's company for the construction of the Civic Center. Following this, Itsuki's company and Cranberry start working together on the project, allowing Kawana and Itsuki to spend more time together. During the days off and weekends, Kawana and Itsuki visit different art exhibits and enjoy their time. While having lunch, Itsuki tells Kawana about his ex-girlfriend Miki and mentions that he has already broken up with her. He also tells Kawana that he has an excretory disorder and that handling him will be difficult over time. After spending a few more days with Itsuki, Kawana realizes that he still misses Miki and has not been able to forget her. She then gets information about Miki's marriage and decides to take Itsuki there. Itsuki reluctantly agrees to attend the marriage, but when he reaches the venue and notices Miki happy, he takes a sigh of relief and thanks Kawana for bringing him there. The next day, Kawana learns that Itsuki is in the hospital, and she immediately rushes to see him. On reaching there, she meets with Itsuki's mother, Fumino, who really appreciates her. Later, seeing Kawana caring a lot for him, Itsuki tells her to leave him alone. He further mentions that he is a troublesome man and that he could never make her happy and satisfied. Hearing this, Kawana gets hurt and walks out of the hospital room. Outside, she meets Fumino, who tells her that Itsuki likes living alone and does not care about his health. She fears for his future and wants him to return to his hometown and work there. One rainy evening, after Itsuki gets discharged from the hospital, Kawana goes to visit him and finds him outside his house, searching for his lost cat. Even this time, Itsuki suggests Kawana leave him alone so that she won't have to face any trouble looking after him. Fed up with his orders, Kawana yells at Itsuki, confessing her love for him and mentioning that she loves spending time with him. The next day, Itsuki takes Kawana to a beautiful place and gives her a locket, revealing that he too likes her and wants to date her. Kawana is surprised to see the gift and agrees to date him. After the visit, Itsuki drops her home, and when he is about to return, Kawana's father arrives there and spots them together. Itsuki greets him from inside his car and drives away. Later, inside Kawana's house, she tells her parents about their relationship. Everything is going fine until Kawana mentions that Itsuki has a handicap and can never walk again. Her parents get angry hearing this, with her father walking away without having dinner. Despite her parents not being happy with the relationship, Kawana continues visiting Itsuki and spending time with him. She also mentions that she wishes to overcome every obstacle of her life with him, but her parents are continuously forcing her to rethink the relationship. Lost in her own thoughts one day while waiting for the train, Kawana collides with a stranger and falls on the tracks in the path of an incoming train. Itsuki tries to save her, but he can do nothing other than yell for help. Luckily, 3 strangers help Kawana out of the tracks and save her life. In the next scene, Kawana can be seen hospitalized, with Itsuki waiting for her outside. The next day, when Kawana gains back her consciousness, she finds Itsuki beside her. In the meantime, Kawana's parents also arrive there to see her. Apologizing to her parents, Itsuki tells them that the accident happened because of him and that he couldn't do anything to help her. Kawana's parents ask Itsuki to provide them with some private time, suggesting he leave the hospital room. At Itsuki's office, we learn that Kawana, who is ill, has been working on the project and has been replaced by another interior designer. After finishing work, Itsuki again returns to the hospital to meet Kawana, but is stopped by her father, who, with all due respect, asks him to break up with Kawana for her better future. Shortly after, Itsuki meets Kawana and tells her that they will go for a surprise tour after she gets discharged from the hospital. Hearing this, Kawana becomes very happy and hugs him tightly. The scene then shifts to the duo visiting in an amusement park, with Kawana completely recovered from the accident. They enjoy their time while in the park doing various activities and playing different games. Later, Itsuki tells Kawana about how much he loves spending time with her and that he treasures her presence a lot. He also mentions that after he could not stand up and save her during her accident, he started finding himself worthless to her. Finally, with a heavy heart, despite Kawana's crying and refusing him to do so, he breaks up with her. After a few weeks, Kawana can be seen working in her company, assuring herself that she has moved on in life. Unfortunately, she has to return to her home city after her father suffers a stroke. There, she visits her high school again and remembers her time with Itsuki. In the meantime, she gets a call from Itsuki's caretaker, Aoi, informing her about a major surgery that Itsuki is undergoing and that he has very little chance of surviving. Hearing this, Kawana returns to her home and tells her parents that she needs to return to Tokyo to see Itsuki. Kawana's father then reveals to her that it was he who asked Itsuki to break up with her. He also mentions that now he has understood what his daughter's real happiness is. He suggests Kawana make the decision herself. In the following scene, Kawana reaches the hospital, praying with God to help Itsuki survive the surgery. In the hospital, she meets with Aoi, who hands her a letter given by Itsuki. In the letter, Itsuki mentions how his dull and frustrating life has changed after he met Kawana. He also states that if he doesn't survive the surgery, he wants Kawana to know that he always liked her and treasured her presence. After reading the letter, Kawana gets emotional and starts crying. In the next scene, we are shown the scene from the beginning of the movie where Kawana is standing in front of her high school, mentioning that she fell in love with Itsuki again. Itsuki also arrives there, having successfully survived the surgery, and greets Kawana. Here, Kawana tells Itsuki that she likes him the way he is and will love to spend more time with him. Hearing this, Itsuki also mentions that the time he spent with her was the best time of his life, and he wants them both to face the obstacles in life together and overcome everything. He further tells Kawana that she makes his life perfect. Following this, Itsuki asks Kawana to marry him, and happily, she agrees. The movie ends with Kawana marrying Itsuki, with her parents supporting her marriage.